Hi, welcome to the channel. Today we look at how the factorized form of a quadratic can help us to find the solutions. What is the solution of a quadratic equation? Simply put, a solution, which you might also see being called root for a quadratic equation, is an x-intercept. That's right, that's when you cross the x-axis. So if we look at x squared minus 5x minus 6 here on the screen, you'll see that the point -1, 0 is one of two solutions where the curve crosses the x-axis. So for the coordinates -1, the y value is 0, which means there's no height. There's no height to it because it's crossing exactly when y is 0. And at 6, 0 on the other side, there's also no height. So there are two solutions. There are 2 points of intersection here. And as you can see, these are called roots or solutions. How do we find a solution from a factored form? As you expand and factorize second-degree expressions, you might be wondering, what's the point? Well, if you have the product, which means the multiplication of two things, imagine that you have one object A and one object B, and we're saying that the product of this object is equal to 0. Now remember, we're trying to estimate when the y value is 0, like when there's no height. So if something A times something B is equal to 0, well, the logical argument is that either A must be 0 and B can be anything, because 0 times anything is 0, or B is equal to 0 and then A can be anything. So when you have this factored form, which is the multiplication of two objects, either the first bracket is 0 or the second bracket is 0, which gives 0 for the expression. And we can apply this logic to x minus 1 times x minus 2, which is the multiplication of two brackets. If the first bracket is 0, that multiplication will be equal to 0. If the second bracket is 0, that multiplication will be equal to 0. This leads you to this argument, then either x minus 1 is 0 or x minus 2 is 0. For x minus 1 to be 0, you need to take the value x equal 1. For x minus 2 to be 0, you need to take the value x equal 2. So the values x equal 1 and x equal 2 are going to make sure that this multiplication is equal to 0, which is what we want. What does this actually look like then? So we cross the x-axis when y is 0, when the y coordinate is 0, and the x coordinate will indicate where on the x-axis you are. So if you look at a factored form here, y equals x minus 1 times x plus 3, this is a quadratic equation which we manage with our skill to factorize into two brackets. And if you look at the graph here, you'll see that we intersect the x-axis at -3, 0 and 1, 0. So the y value is 0. Now the y value will be 0 if any of the brackets goes to 0. For the second bracket to go to 0, we need the x value -3. And then we'll have -3 minus 1 times 0. And that'll be 0. For the first bracket to go to 0, we'll need the x value 1. So that when you have 1 minus 1, you'll get 0 times 1 plus 3, which is just 0. So either of those values, -3 or 1, are going to send the brackets to 0 and give you a y value of 0, which is exactly what we want. And if we notice here with our arrows, these are the two x-intercepts or solutions, -3, 0 and 1, 0. Let's try another expression. Using the same logic, we're trying to cancel out these brackets and make sure they're equal to 0. So this expression is y equals x minus 2 times x minus 6. And if x was equal to 2, the first bracket will be equal to 0. If x was equal to 6, 6 minus 6 will be equal to 0. And both of these values are good. So your solutions are x1, x2 equal either 2 or 6. And both of those will give you x-intercepts, which are solutions for the equation. This is how you find x-intercepts or solutions for a quadratic equation once you have a factored form. Please like and subscribe. See you on the next one.